Hello, this is Chuck Ridgway, Automation Technology Manager at Horner. Thanks for joining us for another Tuesday live stream. Well, we think we've got a great show for you today. We're going to take a look ahead at 2025 and give you a sneak peek about what is to come from Horner Automation. Now, in case you missed it last week we did a quick review of 2024, but today it's all about looking forward. So without further ado, let's break down today's topic. Okay, during our sneak preview of 2025, we're going to get things rolling with an interview with our Product Manager Casey Gardner. We've got several topics we're going to discuss with Casey. Then when we're done with Casey, we're going to go through some of the major product releases scheduled for 2025. If you're interested in connecting with Horner in person this year, we've got a couple options for you. First of all, we're going to go through all the different trade shows where we're going to be displaying products this year, so there's an opportunity there to see us in person. Or maybe 2025 is the year for you to attend factory training at the Horner Training Center in Indianapolis. Maybe a basic training course, maybe an advanced training course. We're going to go through why attending a training course this year might be a great idea for you, and we're going to give you the schedule so you can sign up and get your spot reserved. Okay, I'm here today with Casey Gardner, and he's our product manager, and we're going to take a look forward at 2025. How are we doing today, Casey?
We're doing good. How's it going, Jack?
Going great. Well, before we actually look forward to 2025, I want to look a little bit backwards into last year. Now, there were a couple major releases. There was Canvas, which was our high-end OCS product family. Then we also had the much anticipated Seascape 10. So, Casey, from your perspective, how do you think those product releases went last year?
I think they've gone pretty well, especially as drastic as some of those changes are with both the modernized user interface as well as the updated graphics for that platform. They've been really encouraging in customer hands, especially just the customer feedback. It's been something where customers have really dove into them and given really good feedback, both on the user experience as well as good feedback that they really enjoy some of the new tools and features that we've added to it as well, which is really encouraging for the amount of time that we've really spent on that over the years.
Yeah, I would say it's one of the smoothest software releases, certainly major software releases that I've been around in my many years here at Horner. Now, kind of starting to look forward, one of the things I know that we're implementing in 2025 that's a little bit new from a Seascape standpoint is we're going to scheduled software releases. How's that going to work?
Yeah, so we're committing to 4 software releases a year, as well as usually firmware releases kind of around the same time frame. So you'll see one here shortly towards the end of January, where we're trying to have 2 major releases and then 2 minor releases. So those major releases will come with feature updates as well as major hardware support. So things like upcoming CPU modules or even features like being able to have favorites for within the different logic elements. There's a number of different things like that, security improvements. Those are all coming into this upcoming release. And then, like I said, we'll have minor releases in terms of service packs on every other quarter as well.
Okay, terrific. So obviously that's what's kind of happening from a software perspective moving forward. Lots of improvements, as we've always done to Seascape 10. But in general, looking forward at 2025, what would you say the theme is for the year?
Well, you hear it as a common theme through numerous presentations or discussions with our sales guys is data, data, data. So we have an upcoming OCS 360 platform, which is also support coming for in this next Seascape release. But that's all about data and really collecting data through a cloud service that we offer data visualization as well as being able to export and collect said data over long periods of time. So that's important for customers to really start gathering that data for the future is really what it's tailored towards. Is you don't know what you don't know in terms of about your process or how you want to improve. So it's important to collect and gather that data so that you can use either AI modeling or really taking a hard look at said data to see how we want to improve going forward.
Yeah, data is power. I mean, that's really what it's all about. And the more you know about, the more data you have on your process and on your machine, the better off you're going to be in the future. Okay, so we've talked about Seascape, we've talked about OCS-360 Cloud Service. From a hardware perspective, where are things going? What are some of the major releases coming for hardware this year?
Sure. One of our big focuses really early in the year is going to be on OCS-I/O. So we had a number of I/O modules released last year, and we're continuing that. We've got a number of I/O modules that we're hoping to release later this year, as well as some other major upcoming items, which are our CPUs. So our CPUs are making it so it's not just an I/O platform. It's a full-on PLC and OCS platform for that matter. So those are upcoming models. We have a CPU 250 and CPU 300 models that we're looking forward to, hopefully earlier in this year.
And if I recall, the CPU 300 platform, that also is kind of a unique architecture in that it offers a plug-and-play display, right? How does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is one of our first products really with some modularity to the PLC and HMI platform. So the CPU, like you mentioned, is going to be a traditional CPU on an OCS-I/O backplane, be expandable with OCS-I/O modules, but then have support for remote displays that we call plug-and-play displays. So we have a robust automotive connection that actually is providing power and data to these displays, but we have a number of different form factors for the displays that will be released with them as well.
Nice, yeah, and these displays aren't HMIs in that they don't require any programming whatsoever. They're literally a display component that's connected over that robust automotive style connection you mentioned. Pretty cool stuff. Now, since this is really some new architecture going on here with these new CPUs, what's the plan in getting those in the hands of customers?
So we have an upcoming beta program that we're going to be ask customers to join for those that are interested in really deep diving into, again, the new type of architecture, programming it with the same Seascape 10 package that they're used to, and being able to utilize that truly all-in-one logic and display programming in the same way that most of their OCSs have, and getting customer feedback on basically the user experience for said products. So we're excited to share that with beta customers here shortly.
And really, beta programs are critical into the quality of any new release. I mean, Seascape 10 went really smooth. The beta customers and the beta team that was involved in that had a huge part in that. OCS 360, we're anticipating getting off to a great start because the OCS 360 beta team, a lot of customers on that team have really made a difference as well. So we're looking forward to this beta program, no different than the previous ones. Okay, so that's a good look forward at 2025. Casey, thank you for joining us today.
Of course, thanks for having me.
You bet, and I hope to have you on more live streams this year. We'll fix some of our technical difficulties and maybe I won't be traveling as much. We'll see how that goes.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Okay, now let's go through some of the new releases that we talked about with Casey, starting with the OCS 360 Cloud Service. So this is really close to release. We're anticipating that you'll see a launch announcement any day, and more than likely, the first week in February, we will have a launch webinar where we'll roll out all the details. For those of you who aren't familiar, OCS 360 will be Horner's new cloud service that gives you the ability to publish data from any modern OCS, specifically at least the Prime series and the Canvas series. And you'll be able to publish that data to the Horner Cloud, where you can create dashboards and you can effectively record your data for a number of years. What will you be able to do with that data? Well, as Casey mentioned, there's a lot of things you'll be able to do with it. You'll be able to analyze it. You'll be able to potentially use it for learning models for AI in the future. And in addition to that, you can also do remote alarming and remote notifications today. And in the future, we're going to add even more to OCS 360, including things like serving up WebMI style web pages from your site, as well as remote access to your OCS from Seascape, maybe for some remote maintenance or some debugging from Seascape. Lots is going to be included in OCS 360 at the launch, and there'll be plenty added over time. Now you can tell how excited we are about OCS 360 because February here on the Horner YouTube channel is OCS 360 month. So there are 4 Tuesdays in February. We've got an OCS 360 topic every single week. As a matter of fact, the first topic in March, at least, maybe more, will also be OCS 360 focused. So a lot going on with OCS 360 early in the year. Now, one of the other things that our product manager, Casey Gardner, talked about are some of the new OCS-IO modules that are coming and some new CPUs compatible with OCS-IO, starting with the Micro CPU 250. So this is analogous to a micro PLC that has a lot of the same functionality as a micro OCS. It just doesn't have the screen. It's got built-in local I/O, Ethernet support, CAN support, a couple serial ports built in, and in addition to the built-in I/O, you can expand the I/O locally just by plugging OCS-IO in to the right side of the product. So we're very excited about this new CPU, which we expect to launch in the second quarter. Now, another big thing happening is another CPU from Horner, and this one, even though it will probably not be launched until after the CPU 250, with this new CPU, which we call the CPU 300, we've got a new beta program that will be starting in February. So if by chance you're interested in participating in this beta, contact your local Horner distributor and tell them that you're interested. If you don't have a specific distributor that you work with regularly, you can contact our marketing department from our website via email and express your interest. Now remember, the CPU 300, as Casey talked about it, is effectively a high-end PLC CPU where all the local I/O plugs into the side using standard OCS-IO, and it programs just like an OCS with screens and with I/O and logic and the whole deal, but the screen is a separate component that you can purchase separately, that you can mount, say somewhere within about 20 or 30 feet or so of the CPU, and that external display is just a component. No program, nothing to set up, just connect a simple cable between the CPU 300 and your plug-and-play remote display, and away you go. All right, so again, the next big thing happening with the CPU 300 is the start of the formal beta program in February. Okay, so that's a quick look at the new products that are coming early in the year. Now let's take a look at how you can connect with Horner in person. And we have a number of trade shows that we're going to be attending this year. Starting in February 18th through 20th, we're going to be in Indianapolis, which is our home city, at the Wet 25 show. So this is a wastewater focused event, and it should be a really good show. So if you are in the Midwest and February 18 to 20 works well for you, consider checking out the Wet 25 show and attending the Horner booth. Following up with Wet, we have the biggest show of the year, and that is Automate. This year it's in Detroit. We've got a large booth. We're there in mid-May, and this is really the largest automation event in North America, and there are going to be a ton of attendees and a ton of exhibitors. You won't want to miss this one. I would definitely recommend, if you can only attend one show this year, this would be the one to attend. Now in August, we have the Advanced Manufacturing Expo, which is a great regional show, also in Michigan, this time in Grand Rapids. So if this schedule works out a little better for you, or maybe if you want to check out what's going on Lake Michigan in the summertime, always a fun place to be, then check out the Advanced Manufacturing Expo in Grand Rapids in August. Now, There's a new trade show this year put on by SPS. That's the organization that runs the largest automation trade show in the world. It happens to be based in Nuremberg, Germany, but they are putting on a show this year in Atlanta. And we've signed up to participate in that one in the late summer, early fall. So we aren't quite sure exactly how big this show is going to be, but if you are in the Southeast, which is, obviously we have a lot of customers in that region, you might consider checking out that show September 16th through 18th in Atlanta. All right, and then finally, we wrap things up later in September with the WEFTEC National Water Industry Show. This year, it's in Chicago. We haven't had our booth number assigned yet, but we'll be there. Again, late September, early October. The last time WEFTEC was in Chicago, it was a really good show. So it was quite large, lots of exhibitors, lots of participants. It's a good opportunity that time of year to, again, touch base with us in person and see what's going on at Horner Automation. Now, another way to connect with Horner in person in 2025, and even better, a way to advance your knowledge on the Horner Automation products, is to attend a training course this year, or maybe even two. We have a basic course that we're putting on in the first quarter, the second quarter, and the fourth quarter. And then we have an advanced course as well, offered slightly different dates, but within those same quarters of the year. So why would you attend training? Well, there's lots of reasons to. First of all, you'll be getting great training material that you not only will use during the week of training, but also that you can take home with you. You'll have access to experts. Nate Beachy, Tim Brandt, and other Horner automation engineers will be at the training course as your instructors, or maybe just walking around answering your questions. So access to experts is a big deal. You'll get lots of hands-on lab time. Okay, it's not just a bunch of lectures, lots of lab time. You'll get a chance to meet the Horner team, not just Tim and Nate, but other Horner team members as well. And one of the biggest advantages of signing up for factory training, either beginner or standard, as we call it, or advanced, is that you can opt in to receive 50% off a new OCS. So if you've always wanted to have an OCS controller at your desk to use as a demo unit or a development unit, you can now get a brand new unit, pretty much of your choice, at half off just for signing up and attending a factory course. And we always have some fun activities, whether it's a pool tournament or some sort of bowling or golf event or something like that. There's always fun activities going on during training. Now, if you take a look at what we teach during standard training, it's basically a 3-day course. You start off with the basics, talking about different data formats, register structures, different logic development, screen development issues. Then you get into some networking. How does networking work with the Horner OCS controllers? How does screen development work? What are some of the more advanced topics with screen development, at least from a beginner standpoint? And then we get into the I/O. How is built-in I/O handled? How is remote I/O handled? How does analog processing work? And ultimately, we'll get into additional touchscreen features, things like alarming, data logging, and you'll always have plenty of lab time. Now, if you sign up for advanced OCS training, what do we cover there? Well, it's mainly based on variable-based programming. And the reason we do that is because variable-based programming has some real advantages. The ability to do structures, to use structures as you create variables. The ability to use subroutines and user-defined function blocks. Those are a big deal as well, and only possible, certainly structures and UDFBs at least, are only possible with variable-based programming. We'll also cover some advanced topics on the user interface side. Alarming and advanced graphics features that are only supported in Canvas. We'll go through those in the advanced course. And we'll show you how to get the best results when you're importing images or using clip art with your projects. And then there'll be plenty of time spent on networking as well, including Modbus TCP, hands-on with MQTT, and there'll also be some WebMI development where you are remotely monitoring and controlling an OCS controller using a web browser. So don't forget to sign up for the factory training. Again, we have basic and advanced courses in the first quarter, second quarter, and the fourth quarter at the dates you see there on the screen, and you can sign up on our website. Okay, so that does it for our content for today. We hope it was good information and you got a sneak peek at what's coming from Horner in 2025. If you'd like to connect with us, lots of ways to do it on our website at hornerautomation.com, on the Horner YouTube channel, and we're very active on LinkedIn. Next week, what are we going to be covering? Well, we're going to be talking about connecting AC inputs to the Horner OCS. So while AC inputs we kind of think about as an old school way of doing digital inputs, and frankly, DC inputs are much safer and more common these days, there still are occasions where we need to deal with AC signals and connect them to our PLCs and to our Horner OCS as an input, and we're going to talk about the different ways of accomplishing that next week. Okay, so until next week, when we all get together to talk about AC inputs, let's get out there and do some good.